Surrounded by the forest of the same name, the Palace of Fontainebleau was one of the preferred residences of the sovereigns who ruled France. Though the date of its original construction is uncertain, a fortified castle existed on the site as early as the 12th century. The palace underwent its most spectacular transformations during the Renaissance. Fontainebleau Palace is structured around 4 main courtyards, covering a surface area of more than 3 hectares. The Gate of Honor is richly ornamented with Napoleonic emblems. The 2 gilt iron eagles, removed in 1814 and again in 1870, were permanently reinstalled in 1911. The White Horse Courtyard is the main entrance to the palace. The Louis XV wing, built of brick and stone, replaced a 16th century wing similar to the lower wing, bordering the north side of the courtyard. The Musée Napoleon, installed in the prince's former apartments in the Louis XV wing of the château, was opened to the public in 1986. Its several rooms feature historical artifacts relating to Napoleon I. Like its buildings, the Fontainebleau Gardens have undergone various transformations following changing fashions or political whims, or simply through lack of maintenance or plant growth. The horseshoe staircase wing took its final shapes in the years between 1544 and 1565. A first staircase was constructed during the reign of Henri II by Delorme. The present-day staircase was built between 1632 and 1634 by Jean-André Ducerceau. Upon entering the palace through the central pavilion of the Louis XV wing, we can see the 16th century French Mannerist style of interior decoration. Known as the Fontainebleau style, it combined sculpture, metalwork, painting, stucco, and woodwork. Here is the bedroom of Anne of Austria. The daughter of King Philip III of Spain, she became Queen of France upon her marriage to King Louis XIII. Fontainebleau Palace was one of Europe's major artistic centers during the Renaissance. Several groups of works dating from the 16th century reigns of Francois I and Henri II have survived. The ballroom was originally covered by a barrel vault. Delorme substituted it with a coffered ceiling inspired by Italian models. The monumental fireplace is the work of Delorme and includes 2 bronze satyrs sculpted by Primaticcio. This room acquired its present dimensions and forms under Louis XV and was used as the chamber of the council. The allegorical paintings of the virtues and the seasons, along with the elements on the wainscoting and doors, are by Carl van Loo. The furniture was commissioned by Napoleon I. Diana's Gallery was built by Henry IV for his queen and converted into a library by Napoleon III in 1858. It now contains 16,000 volumes. The decoration of this room is devoted to the myth of Diana and the king's victories. Napoleon converted this room into a bedroom in 1808, and it remained the bedroom of all the sovereigns until 1870. The general layout of the wainscoting, fireplace, sculpted door frames, and the decorations above the door are by Sauvage. The Empress's bedchamber was decorated for the Empress Josephine with wall coverings in brocaded silk. The bed was made for Marie Antoinette. The furniture was installed between 1805 and 1807, and its style evokes the Ancien Régime. The Francois I Gallery provides a passageway between the royal apartments and the chapel of the convent of the Trinity. The king's initial and his emblem, the salamander, appear on the sculpted and gilded walnut wainscoting. For the decor, the king commissioned an Italian artist, Rosso, a great admirer of Michelangelo. Working with a team of French, Flemish, and Italian painters and sculptors, Rosso developed a decorating style that united fresco painting and stucco sculpture with wainscoting. The present furnishings of the Francois I salon were installed during the Second Empire, as were the gilded wooden chairs and table in the Louis XIV style. The fireplace is decorated with stucco and frescoes. Tapestries woven in Gobelin and part of the Savonnerie rug from the Tuileries in the throne room. The Gallery of Plates was built in 1840 under Louis Philippe by enclosing a terrace. Louis Philippe had 128 Sèvres porcelain plates, known as the Fontainebleau history plates, displayed in the Renaissance-style wainscoting. These paintings, the work of Ambroise Dubois, represent mythological divinities and children participating in the hunt. The guardroom was used by those of the king's bodyguards in charge of monitoring the entrance to the château. The fireplace is surmounted by a bust of Henry IV attributed to Mathieu Jacquet. The Renaissance-style furniture was installed during the Second Empire. The wall decoration is devoted to various sovereigns from the 16th and 17th centuries. The room's decor was inspired by the ceiling. The sovereign state apartments consist of the rooms of the king's and queen's apartments and were used for the activities of the court. An artistic revolution occurred in France during the first half of the 16th century. As a result of the Italian Wars 1494 to 1547, the French aristocracy became familiar with the art of the Italian Renaissance. Art in Europe developed across frontiers. Italian artists were called to the French court to decorate the residences of the royal patrons. Their works include mural painting, sculpture, stained glass, tapestry, gold and silver work, decoration for monuments, and enamels, as well as short-lived decoration projects for feasts. The term Fontainebleau School refers to an artistic trend that originated with the Italian artists, commissioned by Francois I in 1530 to decorate his residence at Fontainebleau. The rise of the school continued into the reign of Henry IV. The term initially referred to the style of artistic production within the setting of the Fontainebleau château, a style that would soon spread throughout Europe. The paintings on the walls and the coffered ceiling of the Louis XIII salon are by Ambroise Dubois and represent the romance between Theagenes and Chariclea, as recounted in a Greek novel famous in the 17th century. The bedchamber of Madame de Tomp, Francois I's favorite, has a marble statue by Tribolo commissioned by Francois I. The walls of the bedroom are decorated with frescoes and stucco work inspired by the story of Alexandre and Roxane, works completed by Primaticcio. The room was transformed into a staircase by Louis XV's architect, Gabriel, in 1749. For centuries, the Tapisserie Salon served as a queen's guardroom, transformed into a salon under the reign of Louis Philippe. It was redecorated in the Renaissance style, with the ceiling made of pine and tapestries installed during the Second Empire, recounting the myth of Psyche. Napoleon I converted the former king's bedroom into the throne room in 1808. The throne is composed of a crown, 2 ensigns, a dais, and an armchair, made by Jacob Desmalter, based on drawings by Percier and Fontaine. A portrait of Louis XIII. The doors, pediments, and the central part of the ceiling date from the middle of the 17th century. The Trinity Chapel, built in the 16th century, replaces a chapel of a convent founded by Saint Louis, which was entrusted to the Order of the Trinitarians, hence its name. The high altar and the marble paving of the floor is the work of Francesco Bordoni. The oval painting from the reign of Louis XVI was restored in the 20th century. The Oval Courtyard is the oldest part of the palace, dominated by a square-shaped keep from the 12th century. The Dauphin's entrance was built in 1606. The fountain court is bordered by 3 wings. The courtyard owes its architectural unity to the use of Saint-Leu stone. The fine fireplace by Primaticcio owes its originality to the 2 straight ramp staircases, inspired by the works of Bramante at the Vatican and Michelangelo at the Campidoglio in Rome. A fountain is surmounted by a statue of Hercules by Michelangelo. The wing of the Francois I gallery linked the royal apartments with the courtyard of the White Horse. From the 16th century, the carp pond served as a setting for celebrations, water tournaments, and fireworks. The pavilion in the middle was constructed under Louis XIV by Louis le Vau. The pond owes its name to the famous carp of Fontainebleau. The gardens of the palace were created by Francois I and later transformed by Henri IV, Louis XIV, and Napoleon. The English garden, which assumed its present form around 1812, was laid out in the tradition of the 18th century English garden. Today this garden is graced by plane trees, sequoias, and cypress trees. These royal and imperial gardens give evidence of the evolving tastes in landscaping between the 16th and 19th centuries. The park, with its Grand Canal and its ornamental waters, dates from the era of the great Bourbon monarchs. A view of nearly 1,200 meters extends over the canal. In the middle of the basin rises the eagle defending its prey, Bedcham. The Grand Canal was excavated in 1609, predating the canals at Versailles by more than half a century. At the eastern end of the Grand Canal stands the Grille de la Reine. The Grand Parterre French garden was realized by Le Vau and Le Nôtre between 1660 and 1664. It replaced the large garden of Francois I, part of which served as a playing field. The Royal Château of Fontainebleau, the largest of the French royal châteaux, introduced to France the Italian Mannerist style in interior decoration and gardening, in so doing uniquely transforming them. The palace and gardens at Fontainebleau were designated a World Heritage Site in 1981.